All right. Hey, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. It's a new week, new opportunities, new goals, new blessings. Listen, thank you so much for continuing to support me here at the channel. Thank you. Thank you so much. Listen, y'all, I want to come on and give you some information out. This is another audio only upload. You'll be able to hear my voice, but you won't be able to see me again. This is another audio only upload. You'll be able to hear my voice, but you won't be able to see me. Listen, y'all, I have some very concerning information that you need to know about.
But first, subscribe.
That's right. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Join our community here. Listen, y'all, this information pertains to our food supply. Okay, so you may want to take note of this so you'll know exactly what you need to do to prepare and plan. Okay, listen, y'all, I have some information here. According to my sources, y'all, beef shortages are coming. Okay, let me say that again, y'all. According to my sources, beef, okay, that's BEEF, beef shortages are coming, and you need to prepare now. All right, y'all, let me give you some background context so you'll know exactly what's going on. Listen, y'all, just this month, okay, February 2024, the USDA announced that the American beef industry hit a record low, with beef cattle inventory dropping to 28.2 million this year, the lowest levels, y'all, since the 1970s. Can you believe that? Now, agricultural economists, okay, they actually blame it on an ongoing drought along with the high feed costs and inflation. Okay, other reports are saying that high prices are due to ranchers having fewer cattle. Okay, so my question is, have you seen on the news or have you heard where the ranchers were having some challenges in regards to their cattle, whether it was getting feed or, having to get rid of some of their cattle? Did you all hear stories about that? Listen, now, while these factors may contribute to fewer cattle and higher prices, something is going on here, okay? I've already asked you all the question, is there an attack on our food supply? It certainly seems so. And could meat actually be at the center of that battle? Okay, listen, y'all. Now, many of you may be shocked to know this, okay? So I want you to sit down. I'll give you maybe just a few seconds to sit down as I share this information with you. Listen, you may be surprised, y'all, that most beef sold in the USA is not even from the USA. Okay, I'm going to repeat that again. It might have went over your head. You may say, wait a minute, Andrea, can you say that again? Listen, y'all, I have some information here that suggests that most beef sold in the USA is not from the USA. Now, you may say, Andrea, how is that possible? Listen to this, y'all, okay? If you ask most Americans, according to my sources, where their meat comes from, they mistakenly believe it comes from cattle farms in the USA. The truth is, listen to this, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on this. The majority of beef Americans purchase in the States actually comes from other countries. Can you believe that? Listen to this, y'all. Okay, according to White Oak Pastures, listen, our beef imports, okay, this is a quote, right? And I quote from White Oak's Pastures. They're saying, and I quote, our beef imports come from all over the world. Apparently now, including Paraguay, other countries we import from include, but are certainly not limited to, Brazil. This is where they're saying the beef comes from, y'all. Brazil, Uruguay, Australia, Namibia, New Zealand, Mexico, Canada, Japan, China, and the list continues. Can you believe that, y'all? The beef we import is mostly lean meat trim, and like 50-50 trim is really not a marketable product as a standalone item. But when mixed with 50-50 trim, multinational packers can create a product many of us know well, 80-20 or 90-10 ground beef. Listen, y'all, today, thanks to the fact that there is no mandatory, and I quote, country of origin labeling law, consumers are consuming beef raised and slaughtered in these foreign countries under the guise that it's a product of the USA. Can you believe that, y'all? Now, it's shocking to know, right, that there's no mandatory country of origin labeling law. Have you ever paid attention to when you buy a package of meat, we automatically assume that it's coming from the United States, right? But pay attention. I want to encourage you, pay attention to a package of meat, specifically beef here. Next time you buy a pack of beef, see if it says where it comes from, okay? Wow. Let me know your thoughts on this, y'all. I'd be curious to know your thoughts, okay? Excuse me. Listen, it's not just beef being imported, y'all, okay? My sources are even telling me that 74% of our lamb is imported into the USA as well. Did you know that? We used to have, okay, according to our research, 56 million head of lamb just 3 generations ago. Now we have only 5 million head. Okay, what has led to the decrease? That's my question, y'all. Wow. Farmers. Okay, let's talk about the role that farmers play in all of this. Actually, did you know that farmers are being forced out? Now, you've heard me speak about how specifically American farmers, and I've even talked about Dutch farmers in their protests. You know, farmers, they are feeding America, right? Feeding America, feeding the world. And I feel like there needs to be some support behind the farmers as they talk about different challenges and things that need to be done in order to keep them in business and keep our agricultural system going, okay? Listen, according to my research, y'all, local farmers are being regulated out of business, which is one of the main reasons there are fewer U.S. cattle for beef. Recent regulations put in place to, and I quote, protect the environment, have hit our farmers hard, okay? Here's a quote from the Peso Robles Press, and I quote, family farms cannot afford to keep up with increasing regulations involving how their crop is produced and in complying with labor laws, leaving large corporate farms as the only ones who can withstand the increased output. Oh my goodness, y'all. If you notice, we talked about here on the channel, a lot of these companies, a lot of these businessmen, women, corporate people buying up farmland. What are they getting ready to do, y'all? Do they want to control the food supply? Let me know your thoughts, okay? And it's also been said, and I quote, it's harder now to make a living farming than it ever has been, okay? Listen, there is some regulation and what is being called anti-animal ideology, okay? That's making it harder as well. But allegedly the World Economic Forum 2030 agenda and the push to regulate our farmers out of business will lead to mass starvation. Okay, let me repeat this again. Okay, this is a quote from Shad Sullivan, who is the R-CALF USA Private Property Rights Committee chair. Listen, Shad Sullivan said and agrees that regulations and the anti-animal ideology are making it harder, but adds that the World Economic Forum 2030 agenda and the push to regulate our farmers out of business will lead to mass starvation. What are your thoughts on that, okay? Shad Sullivan also gave a warning, and I quote, this is actually in bold, okay, out of the information that I'm reading. Listen, y'all. According to Shad Sullivan, and I quote, millions would starve overnight under global sustainability initiatives, okay? Now, also, Sullivan continued by saying, and I quote, we're on the cusp of something very dangerous if Americans don't wake up. And I say that, I'm sorry, let me read this again, okay? Shad Sullivan said, and I quote, we're on the cusp of something very dangerous if Americans don't wake up. And I don't say that to scare people. I say it because independent production, independent consumption, independent thought is so important, especially right now, okay? That was said during an interview Shad Sullivan gave with Glenn Beck, okay? Corporate control of meat. Let's talk about that, y'all. The majority of meat, did you know this? Okay, the majority of meat processing in the U.S. is controlled by only 4 companies. Those 4 companies being Tyson, Cargill, JBS, and National Beef. I'm going to say it again, okay? According to my research, The majority of meat processing in the United States is controlled by only four companies: Tyson, Cargill, JBS, and National Beef. Okay, actually, also according to my research, 85% of the U.S. beef market is controlled by these companies. Okay, now if that's not disturbing enough, most of our meat industry is under foreign ownership. Wow. JBS USA Holdings Inc. is a meat processing company and a wholly owned subsidiary of the Brazilian multinational JBS SA. Okay, National Beef is controlled by Brazilian beef producer Marfrig Global Foods SA. Cargill is America's largest privately owned company. Tyson is also American owned. Okay, WH Group, JBS, Hormel, Tyson control about 67% of the pork market. The WH Group is the largest pork company in the world and is owned by China. Hormel, while U.S. owned, has the Vanguard Group Inc. and BlackRock Inc. as its second and its third largest shareholders. And as mentioned above, JBS is Brazilian, Tyson is American owned. Okay, Tyson and Pilgrim's Pride control about 45% of the chicken market. Now, according to my sources, the danger in this is, other than the obvious, is when these corporate packers team up with the global elites and governments to implement anti-meat policies and Agenda 2030 policies. Listen, y'all, the anti-meat agenda, we've talked about that. You all know I was speaking about lab-grown meat, lab-grown chicken, lab-grown foods for quite some time. All of that ties into what's going on. You know, they're trying to say, in order to make a safer planet, protect the planet. Excuse me, y'all. They're saying in order to, save the planet, climate, friendly, things like that. They want to look at alternative ways to grow food, produce food, and have meat. So all of these things are tied in all together. Okay. Now listen, speaking of lab grown food and fake meat, Tyson and Cargill are leading the fake meat market. Okay. In October 2023, Tyson invested in Protix, that's Protix, a Netherlands-based insect ingredients maker. Tyson is not only taking a minority stake in the company, but it is also working alongside it to build a U.S. factory. Okay, Cargill, my sources say, invested in Beeflike, a Belgian food tech company whose plant-based ingredients are used to produce fake meat and fish. Okay, not only, y'all, is it important to know what's in your food, but to know where your food is coming from. Okay, a lot of these companies are larger companies are buying up these smaller companies, and it's very concerning. Okay, it's very concerning what's happening to our food supply and the plans that they have for the food supply market. Okay, more and more what is being termed as elites are actually lobbying for and championing synthetic lab-grown meat. Let's talk about that, y'all. Okay, in addition to farmers being forced out of business and mass consolidation of the meat processing industry, there's also the issue of elites using their money to change America's food landscape. Okay, for example, we have talked about here on the channel how Bill Gates is buying up large amounts of farmland. Okay, and it doesn't seem like he's stopping anytime soon. Okay, Bill Gates has already said that we should not eat beef unless it's grown in a lab. He allegedly said that, and he is actively looking for opportunities to create, promote, and sell synthetic meat. Okay, he actually told MIT Technology Review, and I quote, "I do think all rich countries should move to 100% synthetic beef." That's what he was quoted as saying, y'all. He also said you can get used to the taste difference, and the claim is they're going to make it taste even better over time. Can you believe that, y'all? Okay. And as a matter of fact, what is said to be his dream is already coming to fruition, y'all. Lab-grown meat or cell-cultured meat, which is grown from real animal cells, has already been approved for sale in the U.S. I did a video about that, y'all. Good Meat recently received FDA approval for lab-grown poultry. which involves using, and I quote, a big tank similar to those that ferment beer to grow cells. Okay. All of this is very concerning, y'all. Then, according to the San Francisco Examiner, after, and I quote, after around 6 weeks, the cells are ready to be metified. They're calling it metified, y'all, through 3D printing. Okay, this 3D printing technology, molding, and other techniques, familiar products begin to take shape. And finally, it's ready to eat. Isn't that something, y'all? Listen, bugs. Let's talk about bugs appearing on grocery store shelves, okay? Not in the way that you would expect. Now, in addition to lab created, lab grown meat, right? There is also a push for humans to start eating bugs for protein. Yes, did you hear what I said, y'all? There is also a push for humans to start eating bugs for protein. Okay. Now, believe it or not, guess who, y'all? The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is backing All Things Bugs. Okay. Look that up, y'all. All Things Bugs, a company claiming to be, and I quote, the world's leading innovator in the insect industry. Okay. They produce Grio Pro cricket powder, which is used for food and beverages, including pasta, baked goods, smoothies, meat extenders, and more. Okay. But it's not just Bill Gates. Okay. According to my research, Tyson Foods and Ardent Meals have recently partnered with insect protein producers. Currently, there are over 100 insect farming tech startups in the United States alone. And y'all, listen, it won't be long before a beef shortage takes place and bugs are used as substitute. Okay. Now you may say, okay, Andrea, you've thrown a lot of information at us. Please take a moment, y'all. Like this video if you feel like this is some good information. And please, 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 by all means, share your thoughts, okay? Now, with all this information, right? Excuse me, with all of this information, you may say, how can we prepare for this, okay? I have a few tips to give you on what we can do to prepare. Now, are some of these things out of our control? They absolutely are, okay? A lot of these things have already started, whether you knew about them or not. And it's probably not much maybe that we can do, okay? So listen to what's going on here. It's when I say it's not much we can do, it's not much possibly that we could do to stop this, because these are big corporations. Big dollars are behind this, okay? Here's what we can do, y'all. Let's educate ourselves, okay? We can educate ourselves on the Constitution and what's going on, knowing our rights, okay? And knowing and remembering that knowledge is power, okay? Also, making sure you have your emergency food supplies, survival needs. There are emergency kits, okay? If you look in the description of this video, I do have a website where you can purchase emergency food supply and survival needs, even protein-packed emergency food, okay? Supporting local farmers. I've talked about this before, where it's a good idea to get to know the people in your local community who are farming, supporting them, knowing, you have a higher chance or better chance of knowing where the food is coming from by supporting those local farmers. Growing your own food, for those who are interested, starting your own homestead, growing your own vegetables and fruits, okay? Listen, y'all, I have a home gardening playlist. You can check out how to, get started with that. But those are just, by no means is this all of the ways that we can get prepared, but just a few ways, okay? Listen, y'all, a lot is going on. There are a lot of agendas being pushed. Let me know your thoughts on all of this, okay? I'm going to do a separate video talking about how they're trying to use bugs, putting bugs in food. I don't want to, I mentioned it here in this video, but I want it to be its own video so I can go a little bit more into detail about that. Because again, y'all, talking about the future of food, that's one of the things, agendas that are being pushed, okay? It's very concerning, and the way that they're trying to do it. They may or may not label it, okay? They may just put that it's, they may call it something else. They may not even say that, hey, we have ground crickets or ground roaches in the food. They may call it some other name, and then you're eating it, and you have no idea that you're eating ground up bugs, okay? So I'm going to do some more research on this and share it with you all. It's very concerning, very alarming the things that they are doing, the agendas that they're trying to push, all in the name of saving the planet, being climate friendly, and whatever these are the words that they're using for it. Okay. Let me know your thoughts on this. Very, very concerning. I thought this was a very good upload that I wanted to share with you all. Please, please, please let me know your thoughts. Okay. Take care. Be blessed. Stay safe and stay tuned for more news and commentary you can use right here on Andrea Speaks TV.